Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. Whew, before I get on with the video, let me just tell you, it took so much strength to finally get to this point and make it. I was gonna make it late yesterday. I didn't have the strength. Today I was gonna make it, and I was like so not feeling it. It's not because I didn't want to do the video or I hated the results or I didn't want any backlash. It's just the thought of making this video made me so exhausted. But I realized I only had a few more days of making videos and then I'd be offline until April again. So I decided to get off my lazy bum and make this video. Guys, if you're a Star Wars fan, please be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, all of that great stuff. And to those of you who are wondering about my part 3 series, remember I did make a part 3 series on Star Wars. I made a part 1. This is part 2. And will there be a part 3? Yes, there will be a part 3, though I don't know if I'll be able to make it now or April. But for now, in this part 3 of Star Wars video essays, this is my part 2 to this part 3 saga. I can't guarantee a part 3 to come out for the remaining of this weekend. And if it doesn't come out for the remaining of this weekend, expect it to come out in April. Expect it to be the first thing you'll watch in April. As of that, this is part 2, and this is my ranking of all the Star Wars movies ranked worst to best. All 11 Star Wars movies of the main Star Wars saga of the live-action movies. These are my short reviews on them, what I love on them, and yeah, we're gonna go through them. Again, guys, this is my own opinion. If your worst Star Wars movies at the top or if your favorite Star Wars movies at the bottom, please do not attack me. This is my own humble opinion. And I just want to spread the good word out there, as do so many other content creators who love Star Wars, just like you and me. Without further ado, let's get on with this. All the live-action Star Wars movies that have come out in theaters, from worst to best. Before I continue with this video, I forgot to mention that the footage used in this video is from a nice man called Net Alliance. Net Alliance is a channel, way more subscribers than me, bigger fan base and all that. He's a real Star Wars fan, all that great stuff. So the footage in this video basically comes from footage of his past videos, but yeah, just laying this out there. I do not want to steal his credit. I do not want to steal his videos. And yeah, just go check out his channel. And it's a really good channel. I'd advise you go check it out and subscribe to him. Anyways, coming in at number 11, we have Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This, to me, is the worst Star Wars movie. It's really bad, guys. The acting is, like, so stale. The story just seems to flow on its own. There's no beat, there's no enjoyment in it. It's just, like, on autopilot, which is kind of boring. The only good part was the third act where they get on Geonosis, but otherwise, the whole Anakin Padme story, whoo, that's a rough road and a half, let me tell you. It is. Yeah, no, this movie isn't good. It's very trashy, not a lot of great stuff in it. And because of that, I do not like Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. A few more people feel that this movie should be higher. I won't go into a full rant right now, but basically the gist of this story is that since the sequel trilogy came out, a lot of people have been crapping on the sequel trilogy, and they say that the prequels is better. The only thing the prequels is better in the sequel trilogy is that the prequels were planned out and the sequels weren't. Other than that, I say the sequels are better. Yes, shoot at me, kill me, send assassins, all that, but I still stand by my word. The prequel trilogy, albeit having one of the best Star Wars movies ever, is still the worst of the 3 trilogies. The sequel trilogy is far better, and the only thing the prequel trilogy sorry I have a cough. And the only thing the prequel trilogy has going for it is that it was planned out from the beginning. Otherwise, Attack of the Clones sucks. A lot of people have put this movie higher just in spite of the sequel trilogy. They just put this movie higher because they feel that the sequel trilogy sucked. The sequel trilogy didn't have a lot of stuff going for it, and they put this movie higher because they feel that the prequels are some sort of hidden arch, which they really weren't. To me, Attack of the Clones is boring. It really does not have a lot to go for it. And in all honesty, if there's one thing worse than being bad, you guys know, is being boring. Like, the only thing I hate worse than a bad movie is a boring movie. And that's what this movie is. It's boring, there's nothing good to it, and you only get a reward in the third act, which isn't even that great. The CG looks like a PlayStation game, and I really don't want to dwell on this movie any longer. Let's move on to the next one. Coming in at number 10, we have episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is. It's not a good movie, I will say. I remember I watched it the first time. It was so boring. I skipped the climax and just watched from there. Then my brother forced me to go back to the beginning and watch it. When I watched it again, it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, but it still wasn't a good movie. The parts on Coruscant were very boring. The parts on Tatooine was also very boring. Otherwise, it was an alright movie. Not the best way to introduce people into the Skywalker saga, but otherwise it was pretty entertaining. The climax was the best part of the movie. We had like what, 3 battles going on at once. We had the Battle of Naboo in space. We had the one on the ground, and we had Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. Pretty good climax. I loved the ending, the music and everything, and Obi-Wan's 19 was really good. Otherwise, other than that, I didn't like Anakin's introduction, about how midichlorians and all that. I'm pretty sure all of you hate the midichlorian explanation as well. And the fact that they made him a really little kid in this, my guess is as good as yours. Otherwise, just a pretty just average Star Wars movie. It's bad, okay? It's really bad. I can't even say it's average. It's bad. This movie's bad. But I'm not gonna stop you from watching it if that's what you want. Moving on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we have Rogue One. This is a pretty okay movie. You know, this is now my epiphany of an average Star Wars movie. It's so bland. The first half is kind of boring. The second part gets a bit more entertaining, more charisma from the characters, and all in all, a really awesome Vader scene. I really love the Vader scene, one of the best. Battle of Crate was also really cool. Otherwise, I can't really say a lot about Rogue One. It's not the best Star Wars movie out there, but at the same time, it's not a bad Star Wars movie. Everything from Rogue One up is a pretty good Star Wars movie, and I do like seeing the dark side of the rebellion in this, and I wish we could see a bit more. Otherwise, pretty good Star Wars movie, but also pretty average Star Wars movie, not a lot to it. And yeah, I like the climax. It was one hell of a climax, and I wish more movies had that. Okay, next movie. Coming in at number 8, we have Star Wars: A New Hope. Brrr, whoa, whoa, whoa! What's happening? What's happening? Boom, boom! Oh, fire, fire! Dead, dead, dead! FBI, open up! Whoa! Oh my God! Oh my God! Jesus Lord, what was that? Oh, you guys tried to kill me, didn't you? Yes, yes, I know. I know. Okay, I hate myself too, but in all honesty, I just couldn't find a spot for it on this list. Yes, I put A New Hope at number 8. It's the first Star Wars movie. The effects for its time are really good. The fact that the effects from then, from way back when, even hold up to today, shows how good this movie is with, careful filmmaking and real. It's a really well made movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the best well made movies ever. However, it's not the best Star Wars movie ever. It's boring. It is like so boring in the first half. It only gets entertaining once the crew gets on the Death Star, but before that, it is so slow to pick up the pace. Oh my God. And yeah, I like the ending with the Death Star and all that. Vader and Obi-Wan's lightsaber battle. This was back in the 70s, so I'll give it a pass, but like, yeah, no, I didn't like A New Hope, in all honesty. It's not like I hated it, but I just found it to be there. It's definitely better than Rogue One in terms of storytelling and filmmaking and all that. And it does get more respect for being the first Star Wars movie, but whew, was this a rough start to the franchise? Not as rough as things like Phantom Menace, but definitely rough enough that I had to force myself to sit down instead of willingly jump into it. Anyways, that was A New Hope. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to put this there. My fault. All that. Forgive me. Coming in at number 7, we have Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Sending the nukes. Wait, no, guys. Boom! Mushroom cloud everywhere. Oh, yeah, Phoenix is dead. Alright, let me explain. This is how you do a Star Wars movie, in my opinion. In terms of filmmaking, this is how a Star Wars movie should be made. Like, all Star Wars movies should be made like this. Now, let's get on to why I say this. Okay. So for one, The Force Awakens is by far is the first Star Wars movie I've ever watched. It was the first Star Wars movie I was introduced to. I remember back in 2015, my dad told me, "Yo, you wanna check this out?" I'm like, "Oh no, I don't know, Dad. It's Star Wars." And he's like, "Come on, watch it." I watched it, and I was so invested. I wanted to watch episode 8 so badly, but it was not due to come out for another 2 years. So what I did instead was I watched the other 6 episodes of Star Wars. And yeah, because of episode 7, I got introduced into the Star Wars saga, and I am grateful to it for that. Aside from that, this movie just looks good. Not one of the best looking Star. I mean, not the best looking Star Wars movie, but one of the best looking Star Wars movies. And let me just say, if you're being introduced to Star Wars, this is the movie for you to start off with. It's either you start off with A New Hope or this one, or Solo even. But yeah, this is definitely a movie to be introduced into Star Wars with. And let me just say, it was good that I got introduced into Star Wars with this one, because if you started off with A New Hope, The Phantom Menace, Rogue One, you would be completely lost. I would say best ways to get introduced into Star Wars is Solo, A New Hope if you're one of those guys who appreciates art, and this one. This is a really good movie. It is true, it's a ripoff of A New Hope, but I do like the new themes. I like Kylo Ren's theme, I like Finn's theme. It's all just like a really good mix of new ideas colliding with the old ideas. It just seems really fresh and just really good to Star Wars. And you can tell that this is now where we're getting into the really good part of the list, because now I'm about to mention a movie that'll make everyone pissed off. At number six, we have The Last Jedi. Kill him, kill! Don't throw him overboard. You guys are so evil. I just want to have an opinion. And some subscribers would help as well. Anyway, I'm slapping myself in case you didn't know what that sound was. Anyway, The Last Jedi. Yes, so for me, I feel like the sequel trilogy is a climbing trilogy where each movie is a bit better than the last. You know, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. The weird thing between this movie and Rise of Skywalker, I'm just gonna come out and say it, is that it was a tie for me, in all honesty. It was such a big tie. I didn't know which movie to place on top of the other. It was just so hard because The Last Jedi is artsy, it has some good stuff in it. However, it has some bad stuff in it. The Rise of Skywalker is a quick movie with some bad stuff in it and some good stuff in it. It's as if all the bad things in The Last Jedi were some of the good things in Rise of Skywalker, and some of the good things in Rise of Skywalker were some of the bad things in Last Jedi. It was a huge mess. The thing that annoyed me with Last Jedi, which I don't know if I should place on Rise of Skywalker's fault or what, is that the last act was a lot like Return of the Jedi, which Rise of Skywalker did have for a bit, but not like entirely. Regardless, it felt like it didn't give the Rise of Skywalker a lot to work with. And even if it did leave a few things, I don't know if Rise of Skywalker would have worked with it either way. Regardless, both of these movies were pretty good. In my review for The Last Jedi, I did say it was a pretty good movie. Lots of good stuff in it. It is the best looking Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna lie. This Star Wars movie is by far the best looking Star Wars movie, and I don't know how Rise of Skywalker failed in comparison. I know why Solo failed in comparison, but I don't know why Rise of Skywalker did, in all honesty. It's such a sad downgrade. But this movie is really good. I feel like the second half is better than the first half, whereas Rise of Skywalker, the first half was better than the second half. And again, you can see my split between two walls. Yeah, I didn't know which movie was better, and I kind of flipped a dime at it. So for that reason, Last Jedi is a number 6. And we will be moving on to number 5, which I already mentioned is Rise of Skywalker. So, the concluding chapter to the entire Skywalker saga. Was it satisfying? Yes and no. This concluding chapter was both a good and a bad conclusion. As a movie, it was pretty good, pretty solid. I love this. It was a very good movie. As a standalone movie, hell no. If you are a newcomer watching this movie, you would be so bloody confused. As a Star Wars movie, yeah, it's pretty good. As the concluding chapter, you should have just left it to Return of the Jedi. That was conclusive enough. Regardless, this movie is a mixed bag. It is so jumbled. As said, I prefer the first half of the movie. I feel like up to the point where Rey and Kylo fight on the Death Star was where the good stuff was. Then the crappy, nonsensical weirdness happened happened when she went to Arc 2 and talked to Force Ghost Luke. Afterwards, the movie was just a mess. Otherwise, Rise of Skywalker was pretty good, very entertaining, very enjoyable, just not meant for non-Star Wars characters. Otherwise, both a good and a horrible conclusion to the Skywalker saga. And I honestly hope that with future movies we get better Star Wars content than this. This is not the best they could have done with what they had, but they did try, so I will give them that. Cause I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm feeling like a star. You can't stop my shine. I'm robbing the city. It's in the sky. I'm Solo. I'm Han Solo. Han Solo. Han Solo. Yeah, I can't get that song out of my head, and neither can I get this movie. This movie is so much fun. I remember in my review I did overrate it a bit, and I did not mention the problems with Solo like I promised. However, my opinion has changed a bit. I remember back then I said this wasn't a Star Wars movie when I was so wrong. This is about a Star Wars movie as Star Wars movie can get. It's just wow, this movie is so much fun. You guys need to watch this. If you are a newcomer to Star Wars, I would advise you watch this movie fast. Either this or the Force Awakens. One of these two works better for you. And I'm so glad I watched this. I had such a great time in the theater. The empty theater I was in because all Star Wars fans decided to boycott it. Life is so sad. Get it together, man. Right. So yeah, this movie is really good. I love the Kessel Run sequence. That was a fun sequence. One of my most enjoyable Star Wars moments. One of my favorite Star Wars moments. The climax was very good. The train scene could have been better. I hated the Darth Maul reveal. Woo, that Darth Maul reveal was so bad. You could have cropped it out of the movie and nothing would have changed. What else did I? Oh, the lighting. Please, someone turn on a flashlight. Heck, even a light bulb. This movie is so dark. Why is it so dark? Ron Howard, why? But otherwise, ignoring the lighting and the weird story choices, I did love the visuals in this movie. Some of them, like the Space Squid, the Imperial Star Destroyer. It was really good. I liked it. I liked Han Solo's backstory. I liked him being a bit more naive as a young, sassy, not sassy, but a young, sharp-tongued guy. Sharp-tongued street guy, from Corellia, somewhere in the streets, wanted to be a pilot, and then we get to see him grow up a bit more, and then this is 10 years before A New Hope, so obviously he has a lot more time to grow, and I really liked Solo. It's a fun movie. It really grew on me over time. I feel like over time it became better. I advise everyone else to watch this movie, so go check it out. Now we head on into the top 3. Let me mention that Solo almost became number 3. There was another tie here. I feel like between number 3, 4, 5, and 6 there was a tie. 5 and 6 had a tie, and 3 and 4 also had a tie. So Solo was very close to topping number 3, but because I know you guys would kill me if I didn't mention this, let's just jump into the ESB. I was having such a hard time to place this movie above Solo. I wanted to place Solo above this movie so badly, but I knew you guys would get mad at me. So let me focus on the good stuff of The Empire Strikes Back. For one, there are a lot of good iconic moments in this movie. I love the Battle of Hoth. I love the Space Worm. I love Bespin. I love the final battle between Luke and Vader. I love Dagobah. I loved Yoda. There was a lot of good stuff in this movie. The problem is there was a lot of boring stuff in between. It's not even bad. It was boring stuff in between the good moments, and that's what made me almost put this above Solo. The only difference is that this was directed properly. Solo wasn't directly connected to the Star Wars universe. Like, you could watch the other Star Wars movies without watching Solo. This one is connected to the Star Wars universe, and you could tell that this movie at least had some planning in it, whereas Solo just was like, here you go, a fun space movie, on drugs or whatever. This one was more serious, more down to earth. I really liked it for what it was trying to convey. I really liked everyone's character growth in this. Luke, Han, Leia. It was really good. Not really much I can say that hasn't been said already. This movie is amazing and it's good in its own right. And if you told me I could watch this or Solo any day, obviously I'd pick Solo because it's more entertaining. But I think if I was feeling a bit deep on that day, I would definitely watch this. This is a very good Star Wars movie, and it's what all other Star Wars movies are trying to reflect. And it's gonna be a long time before we reach that point again. But where we are now, I would say George Lucas didn't do bad for the 80s. It was a really good Star Wars movie that didn't let the time catch up with it and really stood the test of time. So congratulations, Empire Strikes Back. However, now we get really, spoiler warning, it's the I Am Your Father stuff. No one has been spoiled for this. Literally the whole world knows this. Shut up. Anyway, now we get on into the top 2. These 2 are by far the very best Star Wars movies ever, and you cannot watch Star Wars without watching these 2. So I remember way back when I thought I had a tie for number 1 and 2. It seems like number 1 through 6 I had a tie, but there was a tie with me between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, the two top on this list. However, I had to settle with Return of the Jedi coming in at number 2, mostly because it just had a bit more flaws than the number 1 spot. Why did I put Return of the Jedi at number 2 instead of 1? For one, I feel like the Battle of Endor went on for a bit too long, and the Jabba's Palace stuff could have definitely been cut down. Otherwise, I think it was an alright movie. Why do I like Return of the Jedi so much, and why do I think it's one of the best Star Wars movies, you ask? Thank you, that's a sensible question now. Why do I think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars movie? For one, it has the most emotional drama in a Star Wars movie. Yes, even more than Revenge of the Sith. The emotion and storytelling and lore is so good and so deep in this movie. I loved the final act, the Battle of Endor, where they blow up the satellite dish, the battle on the Death Star, Luke versus Vader. All that was really good. And this Star Wars movie holds my single favorite Star Wars moment of all time, and that is the moment where Luke burns Vader's body. He goes to party with his friends, then he looks at all the Force ghosts and he sits with his friends and the credits roll. That can get me that can bring tears to my eyes on any day. It's such a good moment. This is the perfect conclusion to the Star Wars saga. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Okay? Rise of Skywalker tried to come up with a fitting conclusion, but this is the real conclusion, and I love it with all of my heart. Return of the Jedi is one of the best Star Wars movies. It's obviously the most entertaining of the original trilogy, but you'll have to sit through a few boring stuff to get to it. And what's so annoying is that, like, in this movie, we have the fewest boring stuffs, and that's what's so annoying. You could easily cut out the boring moments, and you would have yourself a masterpiece of a movie. But again, I'm not gonna complain. This movie is great. Watch it. I've watched it. Love it. I loved it. It's really good. Episode 6 almost reached number 1, but over time I did some deep reflection on myself, looked at my life and told myself, is this what I really want? Do I really want Return of the Jedi to be tying with Revenge of the Sith? Do I really want to have this internal struggle with me where Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi are in this lifelong struggle in a tie for number 1? And I told myself, no, I have to make a definite decision. So Return of the Jedi, number 2. And I've already spoiled what number 1 is, so I'm just going to say right now, Revenge of the Sith, here we come. In number 1 spot, we have Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This is by far the best Star Wars movie. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked, because boo, yeah, boo yourselves. I'm gonna defend this movie to my grave. Okay, so I mentioned that 2 of the prequel movies are bad. Yes, and only one of these prequel movies is great. What I didn't mention is that Revenge of the Sith carries the prequel trilogy all on its own. You could tell that this is a story George Lucas wanted to tell, and it really does show. Revenge of the Sith is really good, really amazing, and I wish it got a bit more respect. However, even though it carried the prequel trilogy, it still doesn't carry out. To me, the sequel trilogy is still better. The original trilogy is the best. Like, if I was to rank the trilogies, it would be original trilogy, sequel trilogy, and then prequel trilogy comes in last, even though it has the best Star Wars movie. Anyway, Hoosers, Revenge of the Sith is the most entertaining Star Wars movie. To me, it's just a movie you cannot get bored with. There are no boring moments in this film, and that can never be more true. There is so much action, so much lore. The storytelling here is amazing. You wonder why he didn't do it for the past 2 films. And Anakin's arc, albeit a bit quick, is like a bit, does make a bit of sense, but not like fully entirely. I'm trying to defend this movie here. The CG definitely improved, and for it being like the closest thing, but closing off this whole 6-movie trilogy, like giving us a lead into the original trilogy, really good, really great. Palpatine is amazing. He is by far the best Star Wars character to ever exist, sort of. He's not my favorite, but he definitely did an amazing performance in this movie, and I feel that bringing him back in Rise of Skywalker after his death in Return of the Jedi just angered me so much. But otherwise, this was a great Star Wars movie. If you are feeling skeptical about Star Wars, the movies I would advise you watch would be Force Awakens, Solo, and this one. If you are able to get behind one of these 3 movies, then I think you can watch Star Wars and be a casual fan. However, this movie is only meant for like the people who, at least know a bit of background on Star Wars. Otherwise, the Rise of the Empire, the dark moments of this film, really great, really amazing, and just, it's not really like mind-blowing or anything, but it just feels right to watch this movie. It just feels like this is what Star Wars is. This is everything right to Star Wars. This is everything that encapsulates Star Wars. And this is everything that makes Star Wars perfect to a person, especially me. And that's all I gotta say, guys. This is by far the best Star Wars movie ever. This was my Star Wars list. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you have the same opinion as me, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below. Your opinions do matter to me. These are all the 11 Star Wars movies. I don't know why it was such a long video to make this, but then again, it's just all these movies are really good. I would say only about two of these movies are bad, and I'm pretty sure about the other's position. Maybe my opinion will change tomorrow, maybe it won't. But as for now, this is my Star Wars list. Now that Rise of Skywalker is out and over and done with, and maybe once the Old Republic movies come out, I'll enjoy it a bit more. And this has been a fun ride. I'm not gonna lie. This Star Wars thing is a really fun ride. I really love this community we're in. Though it's not the healthiest community, Star Wars is as loved. Like the only people who hate Star Wars are Star Wars fans, so it's not even really that great a community. But otherwise, it's my list, my opinion. Don't get mad, and I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to leave a like, send a comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. And yeah, if you don't see part 3 soon, expect it in April. Without further ado, guys, I love you all. Thank you for watching this video with me, and I honestly hope it was to your satisfaction. And please leave your own personal list down below. Tell me, what's your favorite Star Wars movie, what's your worst Star Wars movie, and leave your own personal list, like 1 to 11, what you think is the best, what you think is the worst, all of them in a row. And yeah, leave your list, tell me what you thought of my list. And with that, I've been Captain Phoenix, and I will see you in another universe.